back to Unraveling the Brain. I'm your host, Dr. Josh Madsen. Today, I'm chatting with Dr. Loren. We're going to talk about the emFieldPro, which is a device that we started using probably 3-4 months ago, and it's been really awesome for kids that have low muscle tone or just people that have low muscle tone in general, people that have had strokes, to get muscular activity where they can't get it, and even just for pain. So we're going to chat a lot about that device today, kind of explain about what it does, success stories we've had with it, and how we're using it to help kids. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's jump in. So, man, let's talk about the emField. Let's talk about wins first. So we're going to explain what it is and all that type of stuff in a second, but let's talk about some cool things that have happened with it, some success stories that have happened with it, around kids, around ourselves, around patients, and we'll start there.
One of the first weeks we used it, we had a kid that when he would lay there, his legs would just flop out. He was just totally underdeveloped from a motor standpoint, just really no strength,
no tone,
really low tone. And mom never moved his legs on his own. And we were using the emField throughout he was here for 2 weeks. And I did a lot of the emField on his lumbosacral pelvis, or plexus, pardon me. So basically the nerve supply to his legs in his low back. So I just took the emField, put it on a muscle re-education setting, put it on his low back, and you could see all the muscles in his legs start to fire, in his feet and legs and quads, hamstrings, and glutes were starting to activate. And early in the week, we were needing 85% intensity to get any muscle contraction. And so, but over the time before he left on his last day, we were getting more contractions than we were in the beginning with 85%. We were at 25% and getting much stronger contractions. And when he would lay on his back, he would start to move his legs around, and mom would say, I can, when I go to change his diaper, get his clothes on, I can tell he's got more tone here.
Yeah. Not a limp noodle. I remember this now. He's she'd pick him up he's actually there, not just limp plastic everywhere.
And you could see it when she'd pick him up. Yeah, she's holding him, he was starting to hold his head up. We would move up to his mid back and low back, so he was getting more tone through his extensor muscles, the muscles that keep him upright, that allow him to stand and sit and just start to develop these motor skills that he hadn't developed up to that point. He was 4 years old, so by that time he wasn't an infant. He was a boy, and so he should have that strength.
And just so everyone knows, this device is actually FDA approved in the United States for building tone in the core and in the quads. Originally, it was developed, from what I understand, it was developed for people that post-surgery, they couldn't move and couldn't get up and walk and stuff like that, to keep tone in their quads and in their core, so that way when they, after surgery, they could actually have stability and walk, which is really cool. But now we're finding a lot of applications in other ways, and a lot of providers are as well.
Well, we found it. You were speaking at that conference, and as one of the vendors, and we just started playing around with it on ourselves, and we're oh man, we need this for kids. This is going to be huge. I remember driving back, and I was just like a kid in the candy store, and I was just well, we could use it on this, and we could do this, and we were using it over even our own brain and doing neurological checks and tests, and things were improving instantly.
Yeah, it was wild.
And I was man, should we have done that? And then there's literature showing transcranial magnetic stimulation is incredibly beneficial. I just read a conclusion, and it said that it helped actually decrease neuronal death in the brain.
That's wild.
So
cool.
we use it a lot on kids for motor development, and that's really what we're here to talk about. But I just had another kid, he's 19 months. He had a lot of clonus in his leg. So when you would actually elicit a stretch reflex, instead of his brain inhibiting that reflex and just having a one reflex everyone knows when they go to the doctor, his brain would just allow that muscle contraction to continue to loop.
Yep.
And
what that looks like in the feet is basically you stimulate the Achilles reflex, or you stretch their foot real fast, and you'll see boom, 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 boom of their feet really fast for a sustained amount of time, which you shouldn't see. That's an upper motor neuron issue, or it's coming from the brain.
Yep. And so you had actually found that when I did his initial exam, he was so spastic and just pushed into me, I couldn't even elicit that clonus.
Yeah.
And then you'd found that when you were working with him the other day. And then today when I was checking him, he had a lot of sustained clonus where it would just keep going. It wouldn't go until you got in there and started kind of breaking it up and moving him in different ways. But then we started using the emField, the high-energy inductive therapy, on his Achilles, that heel cord where all those muscles, where we're getting that reflex, in this tendon. And all of a sudden he would only have 5 beats of clonus. And then it was 3 or 4, and then 2. And then after just a couple minutes of doing the decreased muscle spasm setting, and then photobiomodulation over his motor cortex, where he perceives and controls his legs, the two of those together helped him actually inhibit his own clonus. So improved brain activity to the point where the brain can then take over.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy because I remember learning in school, like, oh, if they have clonus, or you can't change that, or it's a tumor, or it's XYZ, which this kid has had MRIs, had all that stuff. So we know that's not the case. We know what the underlying issue is, but it's kind of wild to see it change that quickly, which, we see clonus and those neuromuscular issues, we see them change a lot, but not that fast.
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes on each leg, and all of a sudden just boom. So they're here for a month. They're here from a different country for a month, and so I'm like, man, this is so exciting that we can make this change and continue to do so over the next couple of days and weeks, and just like see how it progresses and changes.
Yeah,
but we talked a little bit earlier about what a great sign that you're able to find something that helps.
Yeah.
Because like you said, clonus refer out, and you should dig in. Like if someone has clonus, you should dig in and do your research. But like you said, he's got clear MRIs.
Yep.
He's just got a lot of neural inflammation that's disrupting brain function. So calm inflammation, activate the brain, and boom, all of a sudden the brain's working at a lot higher level.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. The we were talking about this before, just a little bit ago, but we use it on ourselves first, right? And I remember the first day I used it, and I was speaking at a seminar, and then we woke up the next morning. I could not move my neck at all. Like slept in whatever, woke up and couldn't move my neck at all. I couldn't turn my head. And I was like, gosh, this is going to be awful today. Went down there, started messing with some different stuff, put that thing on, and within like 10 minutes, I was like, man, I can move my head all over the place. Like 90% pain decreased, and like massive increase in range of motion. And it's really cool because it makes it change so fast.
It does.
And I know you had a similar experience too, but I'd like to kind of just talk about the mechanism of, because one big question we had is, what makes it different than, EMS, like electrical muscle stimulation? And so we can talk about that for sure, because it's so much more comfortable and way more effective, I think.
Way more comfortable. Kids fall asleep with this thing on all the time. They love the feeling of this thing. Like, the same kid that I was talking about, like we were just doing some sensory and like different movement techniques, and wasn't tolerating it really well. Started using the emField, and he'd fall asleep. Kids, that room is like, with the emField, like kids just conk out because like that sensory feedback, they love it. It feels good. It's comfortable. And usually anything that's going to get a muscle contraction like that is not comfortable at all. Like you're literally, like in other cases or other equipment, you're shocking the muscle, like electrocuting the muscle to the point where you're getting contractions. So we had some comments like, oh, just put a TENS on.
Yeah,
not the same. Not the same. So instead of electricity, you're using a high power, low frequency electromagnetic field.
Yep.
And that penetrates in this device 5 inches into the tissue. So you're not just shocking the skin, hoping to get it into the muscle, hoping to get it into the neuromuscular junction to get a contraction. You're actually creating a depolarization that goes 5 inches deep, where you're depolarizing the nerves that control the muscles, and so you're getting contractions that are involuntary. The cool thing is it's sensory feedback to the brain, but it's also motor output, or it's also motor contractions in the muscle. So it's like a dual purpose from a therapeutic standpoint.
Yeah, and I know everyone's going to be like, you're using EMFs, but these are different EMFs. These are low-frequency EMFs, which have been shown in research over and over again to be really good for the brain, body, everything, versus high-frequency EMFs are not good. So just so everyone knows, they're like PEMF, everyone knows is great. Those are low-frequency EMFs, so just FYI there so we don't get those comments. Yeah,
this is very similar to PEMF, but it's thousands of times stronger. So like PEMF, I think it's like 0.006 Tesla.
Yeah.
Where these are 2 to 3 Tesla. So like a little perspective, that's like 600 times like a normal magnet. It's kind of like what the manufacturer uses to explain that.
Yep.
But it only goes where you point it. So you can use it safely on so many different people, even with like different seizure disorders. You can use it on their muscles and their core, and because it's such a controlled, isolated, but deep penetrating at the same time. So you're able to get contractions deep in the joint. You're not just shocking a muscle. You're getting tons of contraction, tons of activity in areas that like really nothing else can touch.
Right.
Or nothing else is even close.
Yeah, for sure. The women's health practitioners use this for like to do Kegels after pregnancy to get that tone back, and it's because it can penetrate deep and get those deep pelvic muscles, which you can't get with electrical stimulation at all.
No.
So which is really cool.
My favorite thing, man, is we can get contractions and strengthening exercises and building tone in kids while they're playing games, or they're sleeping, or they're laying on mom's belly.
We'd never be able to get it in any other way.
No. And so like people that come to us and like, I don't know if my kid's going to be able to participate. Like they're not going to be able to do these extensions over the ball or, these core stability exercises. They're not going to be able to do planks. No problem.
They don't have to.
They don't have to. We'll have kids play like I Spy games, or they'll play with toys and they're sitting there and their whole body's moving and they're getting a workout. Yeah. And they're getting massive therapeutic benefit while
they're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something else is with this is kids that have like severe autism. A lot of times it's really hard to do therapy with them. We're trying to, do these other, aspects of therapy. But the nice thing is, we have lasers to do that, but to help with that as well. But this is another system that they actually love. Like they literally will go in there, sit down. You can use the emField for 30 minutes straight, 20 minutes straight, and they just sit there like it's. They love it, which is wild. And it's commonly known that these kids have motor impairments. They have coordination issues. They have low muscle tone. So it's a great therapeutic strategy to get more input to their brain and get better function in their frontal lobes.
Really, the only thing is like that tick, 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 tick. When we talk about frequency, that's the frequency. You're talking about 1 to 10 times a second, where
1 to 10 hertz.
The nasty EMFs are like 2.54 billion. Like that's your 2.54 gigahertz on your Wi-Fi and things like that. That stuff is not good. That stuff rattles the DNA. Where these are so slow relative frequency that it's actually a grounding frequency. So people do grounding activities. Like this has similar benefits at the cell level. So you're actually promoting intercellular or cell health along with muscle contraction. So like where there's injury or where there's damage or where you have atrophy or limited blood supply, like this is really addressing all of those things. So it's cool to talk about making kids stronger, getting more tone, but then you're also helping promote healing and health in these areas simultaneously.
So, I mean, like this device has also been shown to increase bone healing, which is nuts. But and also to go off of that, like the brain fires at a frequency of like, very low frequencies up to in the 40s somewhere, roughly around there. So like it's, you would never even use it above that, which is kind of wild. So, but roughly, typically cerebellum's right around like 10 to 15 hertz type of scenario. So when we're firing up those muscles, we're actually getting activity into the cerebellum, which is producing activity there, which then is firing into those frontal lobes to get them to develop in an input in a way that you really just, I don't know how else you would get it, to be honest. So,
I don't know either.
Yeah.
And you touched on it, but cerebellum's dictating that muscle tone.
Yeah.
But in order to dictate proper muscle tone, it needs feedback from the body. And this is a great way, because it's sensory, because you're getting motor simultaneous, that you're getting activity within the brain that over a course of a week or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever kids are here or however often we're able to see them, you're getting continued stimulus to the brain. Then all of a sudden, resting tone starts to change. So strength is like the ability to exert force, but tone is really dictated by the nervous system.
Yeah.
And getting feedback, getting activity, building strength long term, then you start to get improvements in tone. So strength is really dictated by like how big a muscle is and then how fast the brain and nervous system can activate that muscle. And I kind of had a revelation a couple of days ago, like when you have that emField on, you can't purposely contract as fast as that emField contracts everything. Like it's so instant.
Yep.
Whereas like I'm trying to like mimic that speed and it's not even close. So like that timing and how quickly you're able to activate muscles, like you're exercising that whole system between the brain and the body and the body and the brain, and then all of a sudden things start to fall in line. So it's really cool. And then this morning when we touched on it too, we were complementing it with a laser, like two really powerful, two really beneficial therapies that are passive.
Yeah.
So
like this kid, there's the kid that you're working with, he wouldn't be able to do any core stabilizing activities, any it's no tone at all, like zero. And if we didn't have those two therapies, like there's very little that you can do from a therapeutic standpoint for that kid if you don't have those tools to get the process started.
Basically what everyone else does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just have to work with what they have, and just having technology, like the understanding of the nervous system and
physiology.
Yeah. And just being able to like tap in with those.
Yeah.
It's kind of takes the weight off our shoulders, but it also like gives us more responsibility to help kids that need that specialized care, that need the technology. Like the stuff is out there, it's available, people can buy this, people can use it in their clinic, like
for sure.
And so
we just got really lucky. We just happened to come across it.
Oh, it was like dumb luck.
Yeah.
For me anyway. Maybe smart luck for you, but dumb luck for me.
Yeah, they're definitely not cheap, but from a clinic standpoint, I mean they're amazing from all aspects of, not just obviously we're talking about pediatrics, but from low back pain to instabilities in the spine, or from hip joints not moving, being pain deep in the joints. Like there's so many applications for it. It's kind of unreal. I mean, obviously we use it every day for all kinds of stuff, but everybody goes in. We sign up. Everyone schedules their time. Everyone's fighting over time to get in there. Yeah,
and be able to utilize it with the kids that we're managing or the cases that we're managing. One of the questions on, like, I think it was Facebook, someone is asking, could this be used for neuropathy? Like with neuropathy, like usually there's major inflammatory causes, whether it's like super high chronically elevated blood sugar, or if it's or autoimmunity against the peripheral nerves, or
B12 deficiencies,
or damage, like trauma. But when you're able to promote activity, bring more blood flow to an area, like at the cell level, you're making a cell healthier. I think this could really be a good application for neuropathy, which is really a condition not many people know how to address or manage. Yeah.
Yep.
Like
especially mixers, lasers, HBOT, like those are all going to promote blood flow.
Yeah, that'd be like a whole clinic just for that, because that is a very, very common condition that not many people can touch. I mean, there's so many levels to it. So like diet, nutrition, B12, and everything like that. But that therapy, that modality could have a lot of benefit for people suffering with neuropathy or chronic regional pain syndrome. I think would be a really good fit. Strokes,
like that too.
Cerebral palsy was a question, and those are like could be ideal for this.
Yeah.
You're able to improve strength, whether there's weakness or if there's spasticity, you can actually decrease muscle spasm through that. Just based off the setting, the frequency, the intensities, the application, you're just really creating balance in health wherever you point it, which is, like I said, it makes it easy from a provider standpoint. Yeah,
for sure. So if you guys are interested, if you're a doctor out there, you want to bring into your clinic, you're interested or anything like that, we'll make a Monday.com link. You can fill it out. We can get you in contact. We don't sell them or anything like that. We don't have any affiliation with them. It's just but we have a contact for it. We can always help get you in the right hands and get you in touch with the right people, because they come from Germany, so they're not it's not as easy as going to Walmart and picking one up. So yeah. Anyways, any last words here?
No, it's great. Yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Have a good day. See you guys later.